Do we have to believe our manifestation is going to happen? Do we have to have this deep knowing and this full-hearted conviction, or it's not going to work? Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Missy, and today we're going to talk about belief, and specifically if we need to actually believe in our manifestation, if we need to have that inner trust and knowing in order for this to work. This is an incredibly common question that I get, and one that I feel is going to really help you guys out because there's some nuance to this answer. It's not so black and white. So if you are struggling with belief in manifestation, if this is a question you need to know, stick around to the end of the video, and also stick around because I'm going to talk to you about how you can start to change that belief and how you can start having more confidence and trust in your ability to create the life that you want. And as I said, this topic can be a bit nuanced because you're probably going to hear varying opinions from different teachers and coaches and YouTube gurus. And the reason why you might get so many conflicting answers around this is because it's not so cut and dry. Because on the one hand, the answer is no, you don't need to believe. And in fact, you're probably not going to, at least for the bigger things at first. Because if you've known about the law of assumption for a bit and you've been testing and playing around with it, you've probably found that there are times when we'll just have a random thought, something just kind of pop up in our mind, and then we'll see the confirmation of that. Like, it will show up for us. No believing or trying involved. It just, we had a thought and it happened. That happens all the time. And clearly we did not need any kind of like full-throated conviction or absolute knowing for those things to happen. So on one hand, no, we don't need to believe in order for this to show up for us. We can easily have a thought and see it come to fruition. However, and here's the caveat, when it comes to the so-called bigger things, when it comes to manifesting things like a relationship or wealth and abundance or a whole new career, doing something inspiring or successful, what we deem to be big, it's a little bit of a different story. Because in that sense, it is absolutely going to be of our benefit to believe that we are now the person that we want to be, right? And the reason for this is simple, because we're always manifesting based off the beliefs and assumptions that we have. I mean, hence the name, the law of assumption. Basically what this boils down to is whatever we believe and assume as true, whatever we identify as true, is what is going to be our objective experience. It's what's going to be in our 3D reality. So in this sense, when it comes to the things that we want, when it comes to those bigger desires, it absolutely is going to be to your best benefit to believe. Now, before anybody starts freaking out, before anybody goes, oh, God damn it, I don't believe though. Does that mean I'm doomed to fail? Does that mean I'm never going to have it because I don't believe it? No, that's not what this means. But let me break down a little bit what is going on here and why belief is so important before we start diving into how to go about changing your beliefs to match your desire. But first, beliefs. Really understanding that this is the building block of the law of assumption. This is the building block of our experience, because whatever we deem as true is going to be true for us. We don't manifest what we want. We manifest who we are, what we believe to be true. And the reason for this is quite simple, and that's because we all have beliefs and assumptions based on our experiences, what we grew up with, what we were taught as true. All of these things have gone into forming our belief system. And for those who are interested in getting more into detail about beliefs, how they were formed, you can check out the video that I made talking all about that. I'll leave that guy up here and also down in the description box. But basically, if you think about it, we all have conditions that determine our everyday lives, right? We all have these beliefs that are unconscious, and what we do and how we react and the thoughts that we have are gonna be based on those beliefs and assumptions. When you're born, you don't have any limiting beliefs, right? These are all things that have been learned throughout time, through the time that we've been here. As a newborn baby, you're not going to have any self-doubt as to whether or not you know your worth or anything like that. These are all things that have been learned over time. So when we have these core beliefs and assumptions, and they are in conflict with what we want and what we desire to have, therein lies resistance. Therein lies why it seems so difficult for us to assume that we are now the person that has this loving relationship or this successful business or this money and abundance. So we may have a conscious desire, we may want something or know something is false, understand perfectly logically that this is something that we want and our beliefs are just ridiculous, but we're going to be subconsciously moved by our beliefs. That is just what determines the state of consciousness that we embody, or the reality that we literally step into in each and every moment. So in that sense, yeah, we have to believe. And especially if we're thinking and looking at this in the long term, because again, we're always manifesting what we believe to be true. So if we have the beliefs and assumptions that relationships never work out, I'm never good enough, nobody ever wants me, people just leave me, I mean, these are not compatible beliefs that go with a lasting relationship. The two things are in conflict. So if we just have a temporary thought or a temporary change in mood, as Neville called it, we may see a temporary change, but if we do not believe it, or if we have beliefs that are in conflict of what we are desiring, inevitably there's going to be a confliction there, because we're always going subconsciously off the beliefs and assumptions that we carry. So in that sense, yeah, belief is important. It's very important. However, and this is important, ultimately it doesn't matter what you believe in this moment. And even if you don't believe at all that this is possible, even if you are certain that it's not possible, whatever the beliefs and assumptions that you may have right now does not mean that you cannot manifest your desire. That part doesn't matter. We don't need to go into this already having the belief that this is possible, or that we are already the person that we want to be. In fact, that is the entire point of this practice. That is the entire point of all the techniques that are used. The reason that we are applying these techniques to begin with is not so that we can make a change to the 3D, because that is the obvious byproduct, but it's to change our belief. It is to change what we feel and assume is true or is possible. So I can start on this journey not having any belief or conviction at all, but the more that we practice going into imagination and imagining ourselves as the person that has this desire and has the thing that we want, and feels and knows herself to be the person that has everything that she wants, that is what ultimately becomes expressed. And that is what becomes your new belief. The longer that we can stay in this new state of consciousness and imagine ourselves as this new way of being, that is going to start to feel and become more natural for us. And that will solidify as a new belief. So ultimately, the entire point of why we are doing this, and the whole reason behind changing the mindset through techniques, affirmations, visualization, whatever it might be, is to become more inclined to that belief. The belief that we are worthy, the belief that we are confident, the belief that we are the person that we ultimately desire to be and what we desire to experience. Not that you need to go into this or have this belief solidified right now. And I can already hear some of you saying, but Missy, damn it, no matter how hard I try, no matter what I do, it doesn't seem like I can feel it or believe it. I just seem to be stuck. What then? Am I just screwed? No, you're not. I promise. And that's what I kind of want to go into also in this video, is what are some things that we can do to help build our beliefs, right? That can help us to really evolve into this new person and this new mindset and mentality. One thing that I did, and one thing that truly helped me to overcome those feelings of resistance, those doubts, the double-mindedness, and all around feeling of this isn't possible, is I changed the perspective. I changed the way that I started to look and approach this. Because for most of us, how we're approaching this is only making it worse when it comes to that resistance and doubt. And let me give you an example. Many times when we try to imagine or affirm that we have this desire, we have this thing that we want, we've got in the back of our mind that little voice that says,
"You don't have that. That's not true. They don't like you. They just told you that. You're delusional. You're crazy. Stop being crazy."
And it's that little voice that instills the fear in us. And it makes it so we go through this passage of double-mindedness. And it feels like we're just going around in circles. Well, that double-mindedness can radically be changed by just shifting the perspective at how you're looking at this. Instead of trying to convince yourself that you have this thing or are this thing now, instead of trying to convince yourself that the 3D isn't actually real or that you are literally now this thing that you can't see with your senses, instead of doing that, look at it through a different lens. And here's what I mean by this. We know one of the first things that we learn when we study the law of assumption is that all of creation is finished. All things, past, present, and future, already exist. So there is already a reality with that desired outcome that you want, that you desire to see. That is an objective reality. That is a real place, a real state that you can visit, right? It already exists. So we're not denying anything. We're not denying the 3D. We're not denying the circumstances as they might be right now. Instead, we are saying and reminding ourselves, hey, regardless, this state is not ideal. So instead, I'm going to go in my imagination and play with this new place and this new state instead. I know that the 3D circumstances are what they are, and that sucks. So instead, I'm going to go into my imagination and I'm going to start to construct and build and really let myself feel what that would be like as the person that I desire to be. So essentially, we can stop lying to ourselves, or what feels like lying to ourselves. We can stop battling our own mind and get out of the whole fighting with ourselves over what is real and what isn't. This will alleviate those feelings of delusion and feeling like we're crazy, because we're not denying what the 3D might look like. We're not denying that this thing might have happened to us. We're not denying any of that. And it's really just saying, okay, yes, I understand that there's only $5 in my bank account and that sucks. So what I'm going to do about it is I'm going to go in my imagination and I'm just going to let myself go there because it feels good. And in my imagination, I can imagine what it would feel like if there were now $10 million in my accounts. It doesn't matter because there's no limitations there. I can go and construct this world and really start to feel and imagine what it would be like. That's literally all we're doing. And the more that we are coming familiar with this new place and this new state and what that would be like, you're instilling that new belief. And the more that we do this, the more it's going to start coming to us naturally, until we do feel and do trust and do believe that we are now the person that has it all, that has the money, that has the career, that has the loving, perfect relationship. It's all ours. And by taking that approach, this is going to come much more naturally to you, with much less fighting, much less doubting, and much less time and restraint. So go easy on yourself, cut yourself some slack, and let yourself go and play and explore in your imagination. And just keep continuing to go back to that, regardless of the 3D circumstances, because again, the 3D circumstances don't matter. But we don't have to deny them either, because once you do this, once you get used to this new state of consciousness in your imagination, once you continue to go back to this place enough, you will begin to embody that. You will begin to believe that you are now the person that you desire to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped clear up a few things. Like I said, it could be kind of nuanced, but regardless, it doesn't matter if you believe or not right now, because you can still, no matter what, manifest anything you want. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you are interested in checking out any of my other resources, I will have links down below to my coaching programs, my podcast, my blog, my social channels, all that good stuff. Got it down below, so don't forget to check it out. Also, do not forget to check out the other videos on this channel. Don't forget to check out my Manifestation Fundamentals playlist. Each video is a different topic, but it all goes into how to manifest the best life ever. So until we meet again, you guys, as always, take care, be well, and never forget how powerful you truly are. Happy manifesting, guys.